Hey folks, welcome to Fyrefly's Follies. I hope you enjoy the video today. If you do, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up. It really does help my channel out a lot. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I hope that you will and that you'll stick around for a while. So today I am making and canning French onion soup. And I thought I would bring you along and show you how I make mine. Now, I have peeled about 10 onions. I have a few in the pot already. I've peeled about 10 onions and now I'm quartering and chopping them. There are different thoughts on the way to properly cut an onion for French onion soup. A lot of people like them sliced. Some people cut them in half and then slice them. I like mine chopped. I don't like to get a piece of French onion soup and have a long string that falls out of my mouth, which happens when I go out sometimes. It's embarrassing and I don't like it. So what I'm going to do is I am going to quarter and chop all of these. Now I'm using the Vidalia Chop Wizard. There are lots of different versions of this out on the market, but I will tell you it makes very short work out of chopping vegetables. Quick push and you can get right through them. So I'm going to get these chopped and in the pot, and they're going to start caramelizing. Now my recipe calls for 6 onions. I actually have 10 that I'm doing because I like my French onion soup to have lots of onion in it. I'll leave the original recipe in the description below and adjust it to suit your taste. I add a little steak sauce to mine. Not everybody does. I happen to like that little extra kick that it gives it. So I'm going to get these chopped and I'm going to get them caramelizing. They're going to go on low, medium, low for probably a couple of hours. Now, I don't have anything in the pan. A tablespoon of water just to kind of get it started. And I'm going to let them cook low and slow to caramelize a bit, and then I will start adding the rest of the things to it and let it simmer for a while before I jar it up. So I'm going to get these chopped up and get these caramelizing, and I'll be back to talk to you once we get to that point. Alright, I am going to let these go for, I'm going to let them go for about 20 minutes, and then I'll start stirring them about every 15 or 20 minutes. I'll just give them a little toss, and probably an hour to an hour and a half to reduce them down and caramelize them, and then I'll put everything else in that goes into the soup. I'll be back to see you then. Okay, our onions have been cooking away for a little over an hour and they're just starting to caramelize. So I'm going to get everything else in and we're going to let this simmer for about an hour or so, and then we'll come back and jar it up. So to my pot I'm going to add 2 bay leaves. One cup of red wine. About 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, and I just eyeball it. 1 teaspoon of dried thyme, and it's a soup, y'all. It's a little bit forgiving, so I didn't even break out the measuring spoons. And then I'm going to add about 6 cups of broth. Now, this is an onion and beef broth. When I peeled the onions, I discarded the root end and everything else went in my Instant Pot with a couple of beef bones that I had, and I made stock from it. Alright. So now I'm going to let this simmer for probably an hour or so, give or take, and then I will taste it, see if I need to adjust any of the seasonings in it, and then we will jar it up and we will can it. Once it's simmered for a while, I will bring you back. Okay, the soup has been simmering for about an hour and 40 minutes, and it's lunchtime, so I figured what better way to test it and see if I need to change up any of the seasonings than to just fix a bowl of it. So I took some bread that I had and I cut a round that will fit in the top of my bowl, and the couple of extra pieces that I had, I like mine with extra crouton. So the trimmings from around it and the heels of the bread, I toasted them and I've broken them up in the bowl. I have a half a piece of Havarti down in my bowl with the bread. I'm going to kind of watch for those bay leaves. There's one. Don't really want to get a bay leaf in my soup. Alright, so then I'm just going to drop a crouton in, a piece of toast, and then I'm going to lay a piece of provolone on the top of it. I have the broiler in my oven going, and I'm going to put this under the broiler and let that get bubbly. And it should only take it a couple of minutes. I'll keep a close eye on it. Alright, I'm going to let this cool down just a bit, because I'm pretty sure it is probably screaming hot. Y'all, I think it's going to be perfect. I don't think it's going to need a thing. But I will come back when I finish lunch and I will let you know for sure. Oh my goodness, y'all, can I just tell you that French onion soup that I had for lunch was amazing. So now I'm going to jar this up. My jars are warm. They're not super hot, but they're warm. They've been through the dishwasher cycle. My canner is warm. I've checked all the seals and the vent. The lock is working. Check to make sure the lock is working. The vent plug is in good shape. And it is filled with 3 quarts of hot water. So I am going to get this jarred up. Now I want to make sure I get plenty of onions and plenty of liquid in every jar. Seriously, it was so good. Now I want to leave myself a 1-inch headspace. And because this is so liquid, I don't need to debubble. not quite enough left for another jar, but there is enough left for lunch tomorrow. That one actually needs just a tiny bit more. All right. Small bowl of vinegar and a paper towel. I'm going to clean the rims. And you guys know this gives you a second chance to check your rims for any nicks or bumps or imperfections that might be in them. You don't want anything there that might prevent a seal. I think I started with that one, but we'll give it a second run. Right. And since we are pressure canning, we do not need to heat our lids. Alright, lids are on. Rings are going to go on finger tight. Alright, I'm going to load these in the canner. I am going to let it come up to a full stream of steam from the vent pipe. I'm going to let it vent for 10 minutes, and then I'm going to put my regulator on and I'm going to bring them up to pressure. And these are going to process for 70 minutes. So once they've processed, I will shut off the heat and I will let it come down off of pressure naturally. And once we get to there, I will bring you back and show you what we ended up with. Okay, I let my soup process. I turned off the heat. I let it come down off of pressure. Then I set the lid kind of ajar and let it sit for a few minutes and then took it off, and it's been sitting for about 5 more minutes. So I'm going to go ahead. They're starting to seal in the canner. So I'm going to go ahead and pull these out and we'll take a look. Now, the onions have floated to the top, which is typical. That's not uncommon in French onion soup or any soup that you can. The solids sometimes float to the top. And a lot of times as it cools, they'll redistribute. See if I can get that where you can see it. Just a jar of golden deliciousness. Now I will leave these sitting here until sometime tomorrow, about 24 hours. I'll come back, I'll take off the rings, I will wash the jars, I'll label them, and I'll put them in my pantry. And these will last you a year or two in your pantry. I find personally that after about 2 years, some of the foods start to lose the vibrancy of their flavor. So I typically only can about 6 months to a year's worth at a time for my personal consumption. And this was 10 pounds of onions, gave me 6 nice full pint-sized jars of French onion soup. I really hope that you enjoyed the video today. If you did, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up. It really does help my channel out a lot. If you haven't subscribed yet, I hope that you will and that you'll stick around for a while. If you hit the notification bell, YouTube will let you know when I upload a new video based on your settings. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.